The last indie showcase entry dates back to February 2025, so as you can imagine, I've got a lot to share. The Indie Showcase is essentially a curated roundup of RPGs, strategy games, roguelites, in short, all the titles that make their way onto my humble site dedicated to turn-based games. Think of it as both a guide and a collection of the most noteworthy, promising titles. That said, don't forget to check out the previous episodes and make some room on your wish list. You're bound to find something worth adding. Let's kick off this tonse episode of the Indie Showcase with Lord of Ogre. Developed by Blue Joystick, this strategy RPG gives a nod to Clair Obscur by blending turn-based mechanics with real-time action elements. Players move their units across a grid, much like a tactical board game, but when combat begins, they'll execute real-time attack combos and time-based defenses. The pixel art aesthetic complements the dynamic combat animations, and the RPG elements allow for extensive customization through weapons, rings, and skills. The game's unique blend of strategic planning and action-oriented combat offers a fresh take on the SRPG genre. No release date has been announced yet. Let's move on to something more purely tactical and management focused, possibly one of my favorites in this lineup. Bloodgrounds is a gladiator-themed tactical RPG developed by Exordium Games. You play as a former gladiator turned wealthy patron, managing your own team of fighters and your city. Combat is grid-based, and when a gladiator falls in battle, they're gone for good. And when I say management, I mean it. Outside the arena, you'll be building your city, navigating political intrigue, and working to win over the crowd, all while plotting your revenge against a tyrannical emperor. I'm a big fan of the game's art style and the depth the management layer could bring. The title is expected to launch sometime in 2025 on PC. Now let's shift to something more narrative-driven and emotionally charged, with a survival twist. Glasshouse is a narrative survival CRPG set in a post-capitalist world teetering on the edge of nuclear conflict. Developed by Flat28, players must navigate tense social dynamics inside a residential complex, manage scarce resources, and unravel political conspiracies. The game features a unique combat system where you can choose between classic turn-based encounters or resolve conflicts through dialogue, with results shaped by a 5-branch ideological alignment system. With over 8 possible endings, Glasshouse is a great fit for anyone who loved Disco Elysium but still wants the option to throw punches and tackle survival gameplay. No release date yet, but the developers are highly active on Steam, posting frequent D-vlogs. let's leave behind the heavy, brooding atmosphere of Glasshouse and dive into another promising isometric CRPG. It's called Esoteric Ebb, an upcoming RPG that fuses classic tabletop role-playing mechanics with rich, narrative-driven storytelling. Developed by Christopher Bodegord and published by Raw Fury, the game is set in a post-arcane punk fantasy world steeped in political intrigue and volatile magic. Expect unpredictable dice rolls, deep narrative choices, and a striking isometric art style that enhances immersion. The title is part of Ludo Narracon and features a playable demo so you can get hands-on with its systems even though no release date has been announced yet. If that piqued your interest, then AfterQuest might just win you over with its modern twist on classic JRPG conventions. With stunning pixel art right up my alley and a clever concept at its core, what happens to all the side quests left undone after the final boss is defeated? That's the question developer Ember Arcade explores in this pixel art RPG set in the world of Fantera. A release date hasn't been confirmed yet. Also on your radar should be Dead in Antares, a survival strategy RPG from Ishtar Games. Yes, the team behind the acclaimed The Last Spell. With Dead in Antares, they return to their beloved Dead in series. The game follows a crew of 10 specialists stranded on an alien planet after a mission to save Earth goes awry. Players must manage vital resources, maintain the crew's physical and mental health, and navigate intricate character interactions. The game features turn-based tactical combat, RPG-style progression, and a sci-fi narrative filled with unexpected twists and high-stakes decisions. You might want to check out the previous entries in the Dead in series so you're ready when Dead in Antares launches sometime in 2025. Next up is Secrets of Shadows, a pixel art tactical SRPG set in a dark fantasy world. I know a lot of you loyal turn-based lovers readers are die-hard Fire Emblem fans, and this one's right up your alley. Still in early development by Jungo Jim Studios, the game is shaping up to deliver deep tactical systems with a strong focus on stealth and unit positioning. There's no release date yet, but it's definitely one to keep an eye on. Now it's time for Tsukuyomi, the Divine Hunter, a roguelite deck builder developed by Colopole. The game marks the return of legendary artist Kazuma Kaneko, the mind behind Persona and Shin Megami Tensei. Set in a near-future Tokyo, players climb a high-tech tower, crawling with nightmarish creatures, battling through turn-based encounters using a deck of custom-built cards. A standout feature is the implementation of AI Kaneko, a generative system trained on Kaneko's artwork, which creates new cards and visuals based on player decisions. I'm really excited to see this fusion of classic game design and AI-driven creativity in action. No release date just yet.
Card creation roguelike. Tsukuyomi, the Divine Hunter.
Back to my beloved pixel art, here's another standout title you'll want to keep an eye on. Mythical Whalers, a tactical RPG from Clean Fleet that merges open-world exploration with grid-based combat. You lead a diverse crew through 8 unique biomes, hunting down massive sea monsters to harvest rare materials like gem horns, which can be used to craft potent elixirs. The game features procedurally generated worlds, evolving crew dynamics, and faction-driven choices that carry real consequences. With its lush pixel art visuals and deep, layered gameplay, Mythical Whalers is a must-add to your wish list. It's slated for release on PC in 2025. Sticking with the old school vibe, I couldn't leave out one of my favorite genres, first-person dungeon crawlers. Mystic Land. The Search for Maphaldo is a pure throwback, developed by Megavision Software. Originally envisioned in 1994, it's now been brought to life to deliver a true classic dungeon crawling experience. Inspired by titles like Wizardry, Might, and Magic, and Eye of the Beholder, it features grid-based exploration, deep turn-based combat, and extensive character customization. Players can allocate points into various skills and attributes, tackle challenging puzzles, and immerse themselves in a richly detailed fantasy world. With a planned release in 2025, it's a nostalgic journey for fans of classic RPGs.
Your journey will begin soon.
For centuries, balance held the world together.
Next up is yet another entry inspired by the legendary Heroes of Might and Magic series. Sure, there are plenty of them, but when they're as well crafted as Songs of Conquest, who's complaining? Enter Stormbinders, a love letter to the classics developed by Destructive Creations and Innominate Games with a unique twist, weather-based gameplay. Set in a world ravaged by chaotic magic storms, Stormbinders features 4 unique factions and a wide variety of units. Players will engage in hex-based tactical battles, manage their territories, and adapt to a dynamic weather system that impacts both exploration and combat. I'm particularly intrigued to see how deeply the shifting storm conditions will shape gameplay.
Everything you think you know about me.
Shifting from high fantasy to a gritty future, Augmented Empire drops players into New Savannah, a city divided by class and power in the year 2058. From a hidden base, you lead a squad of 6 unique characters through 26 missions. The game features turn-based combat spiced up with timing-based mechanics, while its narrative dives into themes of inequality and revolution, backed by an impressive voice cast. The big news: it's the only game in this list that's already available on Steam. It took a while to get on my radar, but it's finally made it.
Riot from revolution. Success.
We can't do this alone.
Archie, Amber, you're with Willa. Newt and Margot, stick with Chris.
I'm in. People change. And villains aren't born. They're made.
One game that did catch my attention earlier, though still fairly recently, is Smash It Wild. a blend of elements of volleyball and dodgeball in a fantasy setting populated by anthropomorphic animals. This turn-based roguelite is developed by indie dev Ernestine and Goblin Studio, which is also the publisher. The game challenges players to lead a team through a tournament where each loss means starting over. Between matches, players can upgrade their team, acquire new abilities, and face unexpected events, all within a sailpunk universe.
New York City, 1939.
We're almost at the end of this indie showcase, and it's time to highlight a few titles that just recently made their debut on turn-based lovers. First up is a game with one of the most original settings I've seen in a while. Aether Iron, developed by Seismic Squirrel, is a narrative-driven tactical RPG set in an alternate 1930s New York, floating high above the earth, suspended by anti-gravity technology. You play as Gia, a veteran smuggler navigating a city choked by corruption and layered with intrigue. The game uniquely blends vehicular combat with classic RPG systems, offering deep customization for both characters and their machines. Story decisions significantly shape the narrative, promising an immersive and branching experience. It will arrive sometime in 2025.
Save the city, and you just may save yourself.
And finally, Lootbound brings a fresh spin to dungeon crawling that fuses classic pixel art charm with deep inventory strategy and dice-driven runs. Developed by ArtDoc and launching in Q1 2026, it casts players as treasure hunters fighting their way out of dangerous dungeons, loot in hand, enemies at their heels. Each expedition begins with a roll of the dice, shaping the journey ahead with random modifiers, while players must juggle limited inventory space, fragile gear, and relentless foes. With every run offering branching paths, customizable parties, and high-stakes decisions, Lootbound turns the escape into a brutal puzzle. That wraps up this hefty lineup of indie RPGs, strategy games, and roguelites that I personally find really intriguing.